Welcome to Inside the Program, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook, got Eric Nalene. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. And, of course, head to InsideTexas.com. This is a great weekend to sign up. It is April 11th, gets you through August 11th. In between now and then, you got this big recruiting weekend with 5 stars coming into town to check out the Longhorns scrimmage, visit with Steve Sarkisian and the coaches, all the insight leading up to Fan Day, the transfer portal, both for football and basketball, the football one opening next week, May recruiting, June official visits, summer workouts, summer decisions, all of that, all can be yours for just $1. So head to InsideTexas.com, get 4 months for just $1. Today on Inside the Program, we're going to go over a few of the positions from Eric's notes this morning over on Inside Texas, about just over halfway through spring practices, and some details have come out at a variety of positions, including another freshman early enrollee making plays on offense, a tough veteran leading a talented running back room, a new edge coach paying dividends already, and who the names to know at star are after Jalen Gilbo moved over to corner. But we've been talking about, and Steve Sarkisian even mentioned that tight end was a position that they may look at in the transfer portal. Probably still are going to do that, but they may also have found something this year in the forms of a immediate contributor in Amari Winston.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go to the portal. It doesn't matter what happens in the spring; they have to go portal. They need more experience in that room. But a lot of the hype last recruiting season was about Nick Townsend, and rightfully so. Nick's a total stud. Everybody wishes he was on campus already. The dude's running 21.62 at 230 pounds in the 200 meter. Just a different level of player. But I think a lot of people slept on Amari Winston. You could probably include us in that camp a little bit, although we like the tape. He had a versatile skill set on tape. He's just showing up to be. He's ready. He's ready to play this season. The injury to Jordan Washington has forced him to first team. He's just a savvy football player, pure football player. He's not a great blocker yet, but he's willing to block. He understands the game at a high level. You can tell that by how he's able to get open in zone coverage. Arch Manning seems to be honing in on him quite a bit. Now, part of that is the fact that Arch has to be quicker through his progressions because the secondary is giving the wide receivers some trouble right now with so many injuries at wide receiver. But Emory Winston's proven to be a capable receiver so far, somebody that's really impressing, that's already been called underrated by our sources. And we expect him to play this season. Now, to what degree is going to matter will be dependent on the transfer portal. They're going to take at least one, maybe two. You'll have Nick Townsend come in May, but he's going to be behind Emory Winston just by showing up later, and then Jordan Washington. But I think Winston's going to play this year, and I think eventually he's going to be a very quality player. Maybe not like a lead stud that you would see at OU back in the day, but sort of like the secondary tight end weapon that everybody would forget about and ends up scoring touchdowns in crucial moments.
Dimitri Flowers, and that the name that we always try to bring up. And
they always had a guy like Dimitri Flowers, and it seems like he'd have 20 catches all season, and 6 of them would come against Texas, open in the flat, free yardage, first downs, touchdowns, that sort of thing. Emory's a pretty complete tight end, not the biggest guy, but as a receiver, he was kind of compared to Jatavian Sanders as a receiver, and also the source said the same thing about Michael Terry, even though Michael Terry is that slot receiver still. Kind of compared those two to Jatavian Sanders as far as bigger body guys that know how to get open and catch the ball.
Really exciting for that. I thought he might be pigeonholed as a fullback completely. And I know Flowers did a little bit more than that, but I thought that might be a good role.
He might become that. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just trying to have, I agree with you that it could become that, especially with McKendo on staff now from Oklahoma State. They had the Cowboy back that was basically a guy that did a lot of dirty work, but they would reward him at opportune times and the defense kind of fall asleep on him. I think he could ultimately become that. Right now, that's not really the position because they need much more. He's got to be a lead tight end given the room. Spencer Shannon had a catch in yesterday's practice. We haven't heard a whole lot about that in his time at Texas. They're still running a lot of 12 personnel. Right now, I think, Emory's there because he has to be. I think once Jordan Washington comes back, you're going to see Emory's role change just a little bit, but that won't change the fact that he's probably ready to play if they need him.
We need to get Ian to let us know that the tight end quarterback fit between Amari Winston and Arch Manning, just to see if those two go together. But lots of good returns from that room and from members of the 2025 class already. We'll stay on offense. We've talked a lot about Christian Clark and what he's been able to do coming back from his Achilles injury. They're still, waiting to see what happens with CJ Baxter as his recovery progresses over the course of the spring and summer. But Trey Wisner, now wearing number 5 in honor of his family, is someone that you've heard has earned, rightfully so, a lot of praise for what he's done over the course of the spring practices.
Well, he had a good spring practice on Thursday for sure. I don't think they've used him quite as much as they've needed to. I think they've got some of these guys on a pitch count. We're not hearing a whole lot about some of the proven starters. We could hear something about Anthony Hill every single day if they were putting him out there like they needed to learn about him. They're playing the younger guys. So we haven't heard a ton about Trey Wisner throughout the entire spring, but we definitely heard some good things about his physical, tough running. In the last practice, he's put on a little bit more weight. He's up over 200 pounds, maybe 205 pounds. And that's what, that was the main goal for him this offseason, to get through a pounding like he did this last year in the SEC. Now, hopefully it won't come down to him having to carry that heavy of a load. I don't think anybody expected him to have to endure that last season. That was forced on him by injuries. Hopefully they don't have to do that again. But he seems like he's willing to do everything he can to maximize his ability at running back. At the same time, hearing great things about Christian Clark. His ability to cut on a dime and put guys to posterize defenders shows up in pretty much every practice. I think Sark even said that he's back to looking like his old self, which is really incredible given the injury he had. And then Jarrett Gibson, we've been pushing him all off season. He's right there as well, doing a much better job to protect the ball. That was really one of the main things that blitz pickup hurt his chances of getting on the field. You expect him to make strides in year 2, and he's doing that.
We got to talk to Wisner on Thursday, and he's one of the more confident players I think we've ever seen in the media setting. He was asked again, like, were you tired after the Texas A&M game? He's like, I don't get tired, but he's really confident. Seems like he likes working with Chad Scott. That room had a ton of respect for Tashard Choice, as you'd expect, and it's still in the growing stages. But he talked a lot about how Chad Scott's coaching him hard, and Chad Scott helps them. It's a growing relationship. It's something that the running back room probably isn't used to, but it sounds like so far so good, and Scott's getting the most out of that position as well over the course of these spring practices. Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, that is Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Days like this, the anticipation's half the fun. The call to adventure. Possibilities in every direction.
Look at that.
The stories you'll bring back, even the true ones. And already, you can't wait until next time. From first catch to biggest catch of the season, this is where it starts. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
We will keep going and flip it over to defense. And I forgot who it was. It was somebody at Ohio State. Maybe, was it Tuimoloau or Sawyer said, y'all stole one whenever Lee Allen Clark made his way from Ohio State to Texas. Working with the edge position. Pete Kwiatkowski technically has the outside linebackers coaching role, but Clark is more specified. And you said that has really helped those players, Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke, have someone just constantly there helping with that skill and with the demands of that position. And it's really helped the position a lot so far.
Yeah, there's a number of positives with Leon Clark being brought on board. One of them is Pete Kwiatkowski can focus more on coordinating the whole defense, and he can get a more global view of the defense within practice. At the same time, as players are being developed at a high level, I think I think these coaches, they run their course with some of the older guys. You've probably taught them everything you can 100 times over. That's why I said last year, I said, bringing in Nansen on top of Choate is going to do wonders for Anthony Hill. You already learned from one coach. Now you get to learn from another. You get to get different points of view, different techniques. They teach coverages differently. There's just all kinds of different things you can learn from these different coaches. And so when you have more influence, the more influence is the better. And so now they get another influence from Lee Allen Clark. Obviously, he did well at Ohio State, really a rising star in the coaching community. And really, as the source put it, it's like they have a 24/7 trainer at their disposal, a position trainer that can really hone in on the fine details. And, it's helped out Ethan Burke a lot. It's going to help out Colin Simmons. And also, let's be honest, he's going to relate to some of these guys. in a little bit more personal way than probably Pete Kwiatkowski. So all around, good returns on Allen Clark. At some point, somebody's going to throw a chunk of cash at him to be a full-time defensive end coach. Maybe it's Texas, who knows? But so far, so good with him here. And really, obviously, he's got a great room to work with, too. That's one thing, you show up at Texas and you hope to have some first-round talent. He's got a couple first-round talents and then a couple mid-round guys as well.
Texas has not been shy about bringing in an extra assistant to help at this position. I think when Jeff Choate left for Nevada, what was it, Jacque Clark, something like that? They had him there. They like having, extra set of eyes, extra set of instruction there to help that position, to help PK. And it sounds like they hit another home run with who they brought in for that spot. Last but not least, got to talk about star. The position star has created stars with Jahdae Barron having a lot of success there before moving on. Jalen Gilbo played quality football there during the 2024 season, but he's moving to corner. And so now Texas has to figure out who they're going to play there at that slot corner position. And there are a host of names trying to get involved at that spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of newness going on right now, and I think they're really trying to expedite the creation of depth at the position right now. Barron and Gilbo consume so many snaps at the position over the years, not just in games, but also in practices, that there really has not been an heir apparent with the move of Gilbo going over to corner. And they're looking for that right now. I also think there's going to be a lot of things to play out in August once Derek Williams comes back. You can't have Derek Williams. Are you really going to want Derek Williams or Jelani McDonald on the bench? Probably not. So you got Michael Taft in a supplanted role, or in a cemented role. McDonald, I think, is going to get another look at star. But for now, I think they're trying to create depth, get as much experience at a tough position as possible. And they're playing these guys in a heavy rotation. It could be Grayson Littleton, a true freshman, with the ones. You've got Wardell Mack, who would be the guy if they had to start a game tomorrow. Ryan Niblett, moving over from wide receiver, has exceptional traits for the position, but still has a lot to learn. And then Jonathan Cunningham came in as a linebacker, but this is also a good role for him to understudy in, as a position where you can learn coverages that'll translate to linebacker. You learn to play force and run like you would have to as a linebacker. And it would allow Texas to be bigger at the position than if you had a Wardell Mack out there. So there's a lot of moving parts. And I think they don't really, they're just right now, I think they're trying to throw stuff against the wall to see what sticks in a positive way. They're going to create depth from this. But right now, there's a little bit of jockeying for position. But then again, I don't think it's all going to matter. When they show up to Columbus, do I think one of these guys is starting? I think that's unlikely. I think the starter is probably going to be Jelani McDonald.
Looking at Wardell Mack, you talk about how there's not really an heir apparent. PFF only lists him as getting 25 snaps on defense last year. So they're almost restarting from this position, even though he did have that pick at the end of one of those games.
He's got the traits for it. I mean, when that was part of the evaluation throughout the recruiting process, they love to have a corner at the position. Jelani is just a little bit of a unicorn as moving to safety there. And of course, Jelani played cornerback in the All-American game. But Wardell Mack fits it perfectly. He just needs more experience. We always talk about how you have to have experience to see the field for this team, and that's something that they try to give to you gradually over time until they feel comfortable with you. If they put Wardell Mack at starting, it would be totally uncharacteristic for the way they've operated throughout the years. That's why I think it's going to be Jelani McDonald. That, in addition with, you've got Taft, McDonald, and Williams on the field. That's three NFL guys controlling basically the center of the field at cerebral positions. That's ideal. But Wardell Mack, I believe, is the future. Maybe Ryan Niblett, and we're hearing great things about Grayson Littleton. I tend to think Littleton's going to end up at corner, but they've got a lot of great parts. But they're trying to win a national championship right now, and I don't think they want to go into the season with inexperience at a very important position.
We have these notes and so many more over at InsideTexas.com. So make sure you're able to take advantage of our 4 months for just $1 sale. Gets you all the way through August. Again, so much intel coming up, inside team stuff, recruiting, big visits, transfer portal info on both basketball and football fronts, recruiting, everything that's going to happen between now and August, you will get just for $1 if you sign up over at Inside Texas. So come check us out. We'll have it loaded up all this weekend with all the recruiting visits. And thank you for heading to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We'll have some updates over the course of the weekend. We'll have a lot of different things on the recruiting front, the team front, news front, whatever happens, we'll have it here. So thank you, Eric. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Inside the Program, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.